Hello everyone, and welcome to another Pyro Gaming video. As I continue to count down my top 5 favorite things from Destiny 1 in anticipation of Destiny 2's release, it's time that we move on to our next countdown, and that's going to be the top 5 strikes in Destiny. Now, it is worth noting that some of these strikes have gotten a revamp, so to speak, in recent years, so the year 1 version of these strikes is considerably different from the current version of these strikes, and therefore, if I mention a strike that has 2 variants, I will specify which variant is my favorite. That being said, let's go ahead and jump into the video and start the countdown. So starting things off with number 5 on my list, I have the original version of the Valis to Auric strike, aka Cerberus Ve 3 on Mars. Now, they did do a revamped version of this strike, but the reason that I prefer the vanilla version over the new revamped version is because in the revamped version, pretty much all they did was put hordes of Taken all over the place, and that's not fun to me. That's not anything creative, that's not anything new and exciting, it's just a bunch of enemies. I'd much rather destroy the tank and then be on my way to the boss room where I fight Valis to Auric himself. Now, back in year 1, when this was the weekly heroic strike or the weekly nightfall strike, if one of the modifiers was solar burn, it was both very fun and very annoying. There was a lot of solar energy dealing enemies in this strike, and, I mean, you can counteract them and melt them with a Gallarhorn or a Golden Gun like you just saw me do, but in any case, it was still really fun. At number 4 on my list, I have the new revamped version of the Will of Crota strike. Now, back in year 1, the original version of the Omnigul strike was pretty much just a clusterfuck. You had no idea when the enemies were going to spawn, when they were going to do what, where they were going to come from. It was just an endless supply of Knights and Acolytes and Thrall and Curse Thrall that would just ruin your day. But here, in year 3, we have a new revamped version of Omnigul that is much more manageable and much more predictable. Now, some may argue that that makes it more boring, but I actually disagree, because the waves that she triggers are actually quite challenging depending on the modifiers. When this is the Nightfall, it is really, really difficult. When it is a heroic strike, depending on the modifiers, it could be really, really difficult. And let's not forget that the Omnigul strike is the one that gives you that tasty Grasp of Malak pulse rifle that everybody was fiending over for a while. I love this strike. At number 3 on my list, I have the original year 1 version of the Nexus. Now, I do want to say that the year 3 versions of the Nexus with the Relic and the Cleanse are both really fun, but for me, this strike will always hold a very special place in my heart, because for a while, it was the only strike that was the Nightfall that I could solo. And the reason I was able to do that was because there was a really good cheese spot up at the very top right before you drop in. You could just hang out in that cave with Icebreaker. Every now and then a knight would spawn, no big deal. You turn around and melt him, then you go back to the boss. This was a very fun strike to cheese, and even still today, you can still solo the Nightfall by hanging out behind the wall right there when you drop in the direction that we're looking right now. Altogether, this is one of my favorite strikes in the history of Destiny. At number 2, we have the Sunless Cell strike, aka the Darkblade strike, as we watch my pal Severson land that clutch tether from across the map to tether up all these thralls. So this one, it was really hard for me to determine whether or not this should be number 2 or number 1, because I absolutely love this strike, man. It is so much fun. You have such a wide variety of encounters, from having to have your ghost dismantle some batteries, for you to kill some Shriekers, for you to run past a big room of just Shriekers everywhere. And then for the boss fight itself, you drop down into this pit where you cannot see anything, and the boss shows up, and you have to run around and really pay attention to your radar as the ads spawn, and just altogether, it's a really cool dynamic, and it's something like we've never seen in Destiny in a boss encounter, and because of that, this is one of my favorite strikes. And another reason that it's one of my favorite strikes is because you can absolutely melt this guy with Dark Drinker and a tether. It is so ridiculous how you can just stun lock him, and he just stands perfectly still, can't slam you because he's stun locked, and you just absolutely annihilate him with Dark Drinker. This is without a doubt one of my favorite strikes in all of Destiny. And my number 1 strike in the history of Destiny has to be the original version of the Summoning Pits where you fight Fogoth. Now, they did bring back a new version of this strike, if you even want to call it that, but in my opinion, they completely ruined what made this strike fun by just basically doing a Mario Maker style of enemies spawning all over the place. We're gonna put a knight here, a knight here, a knight here. Fuck it, Shriekers, exploding Curse Thrall, Scorch Cannons. We're just gonna throw everything because Mario Maker and Destiny. and it really bummed me out. When I first found out that this strike was coming up to year 3 and getting a revamped version, I was very excited, and then I was so disappointed by the way that it turned out. The year 1 version of this strike was such a blast to do in the Nightfall. You could solo it by hiding behind the rock down in the back corner. You could solo it by hanging out in the cave before you even come in, just sitting back there with Icebreaker. It was such a blast, and for that reason, this is, without a doubt, my number 1 strike. And there you have it, guys. There are my top 5 strikes in the history of Destiny. As always, I'd like for you guys to go ahead and comment down below and let me know what your favorite strike from Destiny 1 was as we lead up to Destiny 2. And that's going to bring this video to an end, guys, but before it does, I do want to ask you guys a quick question. The Call of Duty World War II beta has just came out on PS4. I do have early access because I pre-ordered a copy of Call of Duty World War II. I'm really excited for the franchise to be going back to its roots as opposed to be going to space. And yeah, I'm really excited about it. If you guys would like for me to cover Call of Duty on this channel in the future, drop a comment in the box below and let me know. Or if you just want me to stick to Destiny, that's cool too. But if you are a fan of Call of Duty, I do want to show you these real quick. These are a new set of thumbsticks being offered by Control Freak. They are called the FPS Freak Heritage Edition. And currently, if you go buy them off of the Control Freak website, you will also get a free Call of Duty skin for your controller. That's 2 products for the price of 1. Holy shit. And as always, you can use offer code Pyro and save yourself 10%. You support my channel in doing so because I'll get a commission, and you help Control Freak grow because they're an awesome company and they should be treated as such. But that's going to bring this video to an end, guys. If you enjoyed it, click like. If you're new to the channel, click subscribe. And if you are already subscribed, I fucking love you. Thank you for watching, and take care, guys.